Hey guys, what's going on? Mr. Schreiber here, and we are nearing the very end of our extended closure online learning. You guys are about to be on summer, which is great. Very excited for you. We're going to get right into it. Today's lesson is going to be pretty quick because the next lesson is going to be the review over everything, and the final checkout is going to be a little bit longer. So today we're going to be learning about how to find the slope-intercept form of parallel lines. But before we do that, let's do this warm-up. And first off, give myself a haircut, a little bit longer here, not too bad. A little quarantine haircut, a little crazy up top, but we're going to go with it. I need to cut my hair. It was driving me nuts. What I'd like you to do is, if you'd like to pause this video right now and you want to try this problem on your own, I say go for it. And if you don't, and you just want to follow along with me, that's perfectly fine too. Let's get right to it. So it says, write the slope-intercept form of a line that goes through points -2, 4, and 2, 2. We've done this before. Hopefully you guys remember. And hopefully you know that to find slope-intercept form, you need two things. You need slope and you need the y-intercept. And if you find those two things, then you can easily form the equation, which I'm going to put here, y equals mx plus b. The question is, how do you do it from 2 points? Well, you got to remember that we have a formula that we can use. And that formula is y2 minus y1, hopefully you remember, over x2 minus x1. And by the way, that's the same thing as this, by the way. You can do this, y1 minus y2. That'll give you the same answer if you do x1 minus x2. Either one. I actually like this one a little bit better, so we're going to use that one. So y1 is 4 minus y2, which is 2. x1 is -2 minus 2. And let's solve this. So it says 4 minus the 2 is 2. And -2 minus plus a -2, it's going to be -4. And we're going to simplify that as -1/2. So this is our slope. That's our slope. So guys, once we have that, we're about halfway done. We know that y equals mx plus b. And we have the slope right here. I'm not going to circle that because that's not our answer, but that's part of our answer. So we're going to plug that in. Y equals -1/2 x plus b. And again, what we're trying to find is we need to find the y-intercept. The question is, how do you do that? Well, we have these 2 points here, and you can plug either of these points in. You can plug in this point here, or you can plug in this point here. Either way, it's going to give you the right answer. I'm going to use this one because I think it's easier. 2 and 2, pretty simple. So let's plug it in. Y is 2. Let me just double check. Yeah, y is 2. And we're going to plug it in -1/2. X is 2. Let's plug that in. And we don't know our y-intercept. We're solving for our y-intercept. -1/2 times 2. Half of 2 is 1. That's a -1 plus b. And then we're just going to add 1 on both sides. And b equals 3. And guys, we're not going to circle that either because that's not our answer, but we have our slope, we have our y-intercept, and now we can put our equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals -1/2 x plus 3. I'm a huge fan of taking this number right now, -2 and 4, and you can do this in your head. Do it in your head right now. Take this number and just throw it in here, and it should be equal on both sides. All right, ready? Take this -2. Plug it right there. -1/2 times -2 is 1. It's just a +1. And 1 plus 3 equals 4. So there you go. There you have it. You know you did it right because it is equal with both. All right, let's get into our lesson. Today's lesson is all about parallel lines and how can you write the equation of something when you know that it's parallel to something else. So take a look right here. We have 2 lines, and we have a blue and a red, and they are both parallel. And the question is, what is the equation of the blue line? And so what I'd like you to do is I want you to tell me what are two things that are the exact same here. What do you notice about the blue line and the red line that are the exact same? And remember, the only two things we have to find, and we can write this, is the slope and the y-intercept. So can you tell me which one do we already know? They both have the same what? Hopefully I heard you, and hopefully you said the word, Mr. Schreiber. They both have the same slope. And so guess what? If you look right here, it gives us this equation. That is y equals 3/4 x plus 1. And so we know that the blue has a slope of 3/4. Okay. Well, now that we know the slope, how do we find the y-intercept? Didn't I cover that up here? I did that on purpose, by the way. I covered that up because you can maybe guess it's going to be about 1.5 maybe or 1.6. We don't really know, but what do we know? We know a point. We know a point on this parallel line. We know that x is 2 and y is 3. Well, because of that, guys, if you remember that if we know that y equals mx plus b, then we can just start plugging this in. We know that y is 3. The slope is 3/4. I know what x is. I know x is 2. But I don't know my y-intercept. And my head is getting in the way. Let's get my head out of the way. Okay. Now, let's just solve it. And again, what I'd like you to do is anytime you see me doing this and you think you can do it on your own, pause the video, do it on your own, and then come back. And you can even you can scroll past me talking. And let's see if you get the same answer. I'm going to guess, I actually have not solved this. It's a true story. I haven't solved this. I'm going to guess it's about, I'm going to say about 1.6. That's about 1.6. It's like that. But I don't know. I haven't done it yet. We're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. And so that is going to be 3. Ooh, let me get my erase. That looks ugly. That looks ugly. I'm going to redo that. Let's get a bigger one. Let's try this again. Mr. Schreiber, try it again. The slope is 3/4. The x is on the parallel line. We know that's a parallel line. Is 2. I'm going to put that as 2/1. And I'm going to put that as 6/4. That's equal to 6/4. 6/4. It's equal to 3/2. Isn't that the same thing as 1.5? 1.5. Oh man, I can tell you right now, I think I've already figured it out. I'm going to take away 1.5 on both sides. And Mr. Schreiber is wrong on his estimate, but I was pretty close. Is that it hit right at that 1.5. So what is the answer? The answer is, what is the slope-intercept form of this line? Y equals something here. Well, the slope, again, look here, look at my cursor. The slope for this red is 3/4, so this blue's got to be the same if it's parallel. So, and the y-intercept we found out is 1.5, so I'm just going to add 1.5. And guys, that is our lesson. That's our entire lesson. That's it. Can you find the y-intercept form of a line that's parallel? And that's it. That's our answer. Let's go over. We're only going to do about 3 examples. Again, if you think you know this, I'd like you to pause it, read the question, see if you can do it on your own, then come back and see if we get the same answer. Let's read it. It says a line passes the point 1/4, 8. Let me just mark this down. X and Y, and is parallel. We know it's parallel to the line represented by the equation y equals 2 minus 4x. That's not really in slope-intercept form, so I'm just going to change that to negative 4x. It's going to bother me. Negative 4x plus 2, and it says write the equation of the line. So what do we know? If it is parallel, it has the same slope. So it doesn't have this. It doesn't have the same y. If it's parallel, it's not going to hit on the y at the same point, but it is going to have the exact same slope. And the other piece of information that I do know is I know my y is 8, and I know my x is 1/4. Oops, let me get this. So let's don't worry about that. Don't look at that. Don't look at that right now. Let's solve this. -4 times the 1/4 is -1 plus b. And we're going to just add 1 on both sides. And so we have our answer. We know that y equals -4x, and then it's going to be plus 9. And this is going to be the equation that is parallel to that. And so I have this really cool form right here. You could have done this. You could have taken out a ruler and watch this. I'm going to write here. Actually, I'm going to bring that down. Bring it down. That is our equation. And so I just graphed this for you. This is what it was beforehand. Y equals -4x plus 2. This is our parallel line, and watch what happens. This is parallel. I made it so it's parallel. And watch what happens. Doesn't that work? Isn't that 1/4 8? Look how cool that is. 1/4 8. And then do you see where it hits? Doesn't hit right at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hits right at 9. There you go. So now we know it's correct. I thought that was cool. Good visual, Mr. Schreiber. All right. Thank you. All right. I thought it was cool. Maybe that's because I'm a math teacher. I think it's cool. All right. We're going to just take on 2 more. Let's take on the next one. It says write an equation of a line that passes through the point -2, 1, and is parallel to y equals. That just bothers me. I don't like that. Got to change it. Kind of looks the same, but you want to have your slope in front. Y equals -3x plus 5. So again, what do we know? We know if it's parallel, it has the same slope. So we know the slope. But we don't know where it hits that y-axis. So how do we figure it out? We just plug in our numbers. X is -2 plus b. We have all the pieces of information to solve this except for the y-intercept. And so we have y equals, we know the slope is -3x minus 5 is going to be your equation. This is the answer. This is what we're looking for, people. And here we go, just to prove it. There's the point of the line that we plugged in. And if I did this right, it doesn't hit perfectly every time. It's kind of like, it's pretty close right there. Right there. Right there. This is with the point that we plugged in. And if you go -3 over 1, -3 over 1, bam, it hits right there. Like -1, -2, -3, -4. It doesn't hit perfectly. 5, maybe if I go like that. 5, there we go. Oh, there it goes. Okay, that looks good. There it goes. 1, 2, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. That hits about perfect. Great. Guys, we have one more. And we're going to be all done. This is going to be a faster lesson. So, it says find an equation of a line that passes through the point 0, 2, and is parallel to this right here. And by the way, if you're starting to catch on a little bit and you're starting to really understand this, you can already tell the y-intercept right here. What's the y-intercept? The problem here is I don't know my slope. The slope is not 5. It is not 5 because this is not in slope-intercept form. So the very first thing you're going to have to do, this is going to tell me a lot if you understand this lesson, because this is what we learned last week. You have to get this by itself. We have to divide both of those by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. And we have y equals 5 over 6x minus 4. 5 is not the slope. This is the slope, which is 5 over 6. 5 over 6 is going to be your slope. So let's solve this. Y equals mx plus b. Let's plug in all of our values. We know what y is. Y is 2. The slope is 5 over 6. X is 0. Pretty simple. Can you catch on what the 0 times 5x is 0? plus b, and then you guys can just say, well, 2 equals b. You guys, maybe you already noticed that if it's 0, 2, this is where it's going to hit. That is the y-intercept. 0, 2 is the y-intercept. So our answer here is going to be y equals, our slope is 5 over 6, and then our y-intercept is 2. Oh, guys, I don't even know, did I make a graph for that one? I did. Look at that. It's just perfect. It's parallel. Looks great. Guys, that's it. What I'd like you to do, I only gave you 3 problems, 3 checkout problems, pretty simple. And the reason why it's a little bit easier is because the final checkout is going to be a little bit bigger. I made it a little bit bigger just so it's going to tell me, do you really understand this or not? I went back and forth. Do I test you on this or not? I've just decided with all this craziness and with this once in maybe a lifetime thing that we're going through here, I'm just not going to give you a test. I want you guys to be able to feel comfortable and feel good about math. And I know I just have a ton of amazing, hardworking students, and I just don't want to put any more pressure on you. So as long as you just try your best and you watch the videos and you take notes and you put your forth the best effort, feel free to call a friend to kind of do these problems with you. If you're doing that, I think that's great too. So hope you're having a great one. And again, last but not least, I hope I see you soon. By the way, last but not least, I chose, we have to help out next week. We have to help give you guys materials back because some people left stuff in lockers. So I signed up for the May 19th in the morning, the first 2 shifts. It's from maybe 9 to 1. I'm going to be there at school handing out supplies. So if you want to pick up your supplies in so I can say hi, it will be outside. We're going to make sure everyone's safe, but it'd be nice to see you. So good to see you, hopefully soon, and bye.